All right, so what you're about to hear is the political view and the truth. I feel it's the truth coming from a 20-year-old over Call of Duty gameplay. If that's not something that you're going to take seriously, you don't have to, man. There's a back button sitting right there for you. But, so, I mean, how do I even begin to word this? I waited to make this video for like a day or two since the election polls came out and Donald Trump got elected president. And that's not because I don't like Donald Trump or I don't like Hillary Clinton, but because I just needed time to just soak in all of this information and all of this nuance. I mean, the country is so divided right now. If you're saying that, hey, I'm going to vote for Hillary Clinton, everybody said, you're voting for a criminal, a liar who should be put in jail. And then if you voted for Donald Trump, people said, you're voting for a bigot, a racist that doesn't have American values. How dare you? If you said, well, fine, I'm not going to vote at all then. How about that? People are like, oh, you're not going to exercise your right to vote. You're not going to do your civic duty. So now you're never going to please everybody. And the nation has been so divided this year especially that I can't believe it. So tonight, as I speak, as I'm making this video, there's protests going on in high, dense population cities like Los Angeles, New York, Chicago. It's basically Democrats protesting Trump, and that was expected. I knew no matter what, no matter who won this election, even if it was a third-party candidate, which has never happened, but I knew that there was going to be a lot of protests and there was going to be a lot of pushback just because of how divided it's been this year. And I don't have a problem with Democrats who are going to protest as long as they don't make it look like we live in the Middle East. It's not supposed to look like a coup. It's not supposed to look like we're trying to throw our president out of office, or president-elect at the moment. This is supposed to look like a political election that happens every 4 years. And of course, I also don't think that it's fair for Donald Trump supporters or Republicans to look at Democrats and say, you know what, you guys lost, shut the fuck up. You know, your time is up, your time is over, this, that, and the other. Like, when you live in a democracy, it's a double-edged sword. And being a 20-year-old, if you're anywhere from the age of 17 to your early 20s, politicians really hone in on you. They really want your vote because, I mean, you're who's going to be left for the country for the entirety. After they're dead and gone, this is going to be our country, and this is what we have to put up with for the next few years. Not saying, you know, Donald Trump shouldn't be elected president or Hillary Clinton shouldn't be elected president. This is not what this video is about. That's not it. Like, I'm not coming at this video at the standpoint of whether I voted Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump. I voted for one of the two, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to leave that out. Not because I'm afraid to say, or I'm afraid of getting pushback or dislikes because of who I voted for, but because if I told you, it would create a bias and ruin your whole thought process throughout this entire video. And that's the way this nation works. That's the way the country works. Now, a lot of people didn't like Obama. When Obama got elected, there was a lot of pushback from Republicans. The same way how Donald Trump's being elected, and there was a lot of pushback from Democrats right now, as we speak. There's protests going on right now. And as long as, you know, Democrats aren't lighting shit on fire, and as long as Republicans aren't, or Donald Trump supporters aren't going at Democrats' necks, I don't see why it still has to be so divided. And the media, I think what's really big about this and why it's really this bad is because the media basically had Hillary Clinton winning by a landslide. Every poll, every projection, all the analysts, they all said it would be a fairly easy win for her, which it wasn't. It was a complete surprise, and I think that's really why there's a lot of pain on the Democratic side of things, and there's actually a lot of rejoice for the Republican side of things. And maybe this is a good thing. Maybe this is a experiment. Like, there hasn't been a candidate who's made it into office that hasn't had political experience since Ronald Reagan in the 80s or so. Like, that was before my time, but, you know, if you passed high school and you're politically literate at least a little bit, then you understand some of these things. And maybe this is what we need. And that's not coming from a Donald Trump supporter. That's not coming from a Hillary Clinton supporter either. That's just coming from somebody who's looking from the outside in. And if you're somebody who's doing more to divide this country even more, you're an idiot. And that's just my full, honest truth. Like, I cannot stand the amount of division, especially from older people. If you're 50 or 60 or even 40, and you're leaving a divided country for your kids, fuck you, dude. Straight up, 100%. Because I have to live in this country after you're dead and gone. And whoever's going to be president, like, even if you don't like President Obama, like, you could have hated everything he's done for the past 8 years. And today, after he made a speech about Donald Trump winning, he said, you know what? The sun's going to rise tomorrow. And there's going to, we should do everything that we can to make sure that Donald Trump's successful, even if you're a Democrat, because he's a president. I can't stand it. For the past 8 years, even as Obama's been in office, everybody's made it so hard for him to do his job. If a Democrat gets elected president, Republicans make it hard on them. If a Republican gets elected president, the Democrats do the same thing. And it's really cutting our nose off to spite our face. Like, even if you don't agree with what a president does, you're solely in this. Like, this is a democracy. It's a double-edged sword. And you're just completely tainting the whole process by acting like fucking kids. And this is coming from a 20-year-old. Not that it's a big deal that I'm 20 years old, but I have to put up with this shit after most of these people are gone. So what I'm trying to say right now is that one thing that I did like about what Obama said today, and even if you haven't liked Obama for the past 8 years, is he said, and he said this a few times, and I like this every time he says it, that we're Americans before we're Democrats or Republicans. And that is at least true. I don't care if you hate Obamacare. I don't care if you don't like Obama. That is true. If we're going to sit here and act like Democrats and Republicans before we're Americans, then we might as well just split the country in two and become the Republic United States and the Democratic United States or whatever like that. Like that. If that's how we're going to act. And right now, that's exactly how we're acting. And I honestly feel like even if you don't like Donald Trump, you should still do your best to make sure that he has an easy transition into office like Obama said he would. Because, I mean, if you make the job harder on him and you don't like him and you're worried he's going to screw the country up, if you screw his job up, he's just going to do an even worse job. But these are my feelings. These have been my feelings since, he's got elected, and I've seen just this backlash and I've seen this braggadocious attitude coming from Donald Trump supporters. So it's wrong on both sides. Like, you have to be an extremist. If you're not an extremist in this country on the left or the right side, then, you're wrong. Then you're just a nobody and you don't have an opinion. No, that's bullshit. Anyways, these are my thoughts. I'm not going to ask you to like the video or dislike this video. This is the only political video that I plan on doing, trust me. And I'm not even going to ask you guys to subscribe because this video is kind of different than most videos that I do. But anyways, thanks for watching.